Hello and welcome to Oasis on Oakley. Why don't you come on in?
Hi, welcome. Well, a few years ago, we used to live in another suburb in Adelaide, and we were living in a large house with that was very energy inefficient, and it didn't really have great natural lighting inside the home. Some of these things, and a lack of solar that would have cost a lot more to install because of how old the house was and all the renovating we were doing, we decided to change tack a little bit. And after lots of inspiration from things like Grand Designs and Sustainable House Days and Renew magazine and friends and other people who we knew had a similar understanding of how houses could be, we went on this journey to building this home. We also really value walkability, so we wanted to be close to shops and our children's school and parks and important things, like public transport as well. And we really made good use of that when we found this site. A lot of people care a lot about the Great Australian Dream, and we have our own take on that, which is trying to build to what you actually really need. So the house that we had before had lots of spaces that we'd never used, and we really thought about that and were intentional about this home and what kind of spaces we wanted. And Mountford Williamson did a fantastic job of trying to work out how those spaces would fit together and how they would all fit in. So we've got 3 bedrooms, 1.5 bathrooms, and a sort of open kitchen, living, dining that we're in here. And we also have what we call the multi-purpose room, or the den, which is going to be able to grow and change with our family. So something that's really important about this home and what we wanted for it was that it's all electric. So for us, that means that having solar panels and having a battery, we can have pretty much all of our electricity use covered by what's happening here at this home, and not needing the grid almost at all, which is great for us and our bank balance, and also great for the environment. So one of the things about how we achieve that is by having an induction stovetop. We also wanted that to be something that didn't cause penetrations in the home as well, because another feature that we'll come back to later is how airtight our home is. So how we achieved that was by having a downdraft induction stove. So air goes down into here and comes out the other side of the kitchen bench here at the bottom, and is filtered by a charcoal filter. And that helps us to not have that penetration in the ceiling that you would normally have for a vent there. And also all of our air conditioning is all inbuilt and kept inside the house with extremely minimal penetrations with a multi-split system. Another thing that we can talk about in terms of airtightness and our home being efficient is the windows. So all of our windows across the whole home are double-glazed. Another advantage of double-glazed windows is that it acoustically works extremely well. And we live extremely close to the train line, and most of the time, except at night time, you can't hear the trains almost at all, which is a great bonus for us. Another great feature of the windows that works really well for us is that they're tilt and turn, like a lot of people have in Europe. So I'll just show you that quickly. So some of you might have seen this before, but the first setting of turning the handle means that you can open it fully. And then when you turn it up, then it tilts, which is a little bit more secure and allows us to have cross ventilation at night. There are a few more features about the windows that I'd like to show you upstairs. So now we're upstairs, and one of the good things about these double-glazed windows is that we can fit honeycomb blinds to them, which also helps to really keep the house cool, or let the sun in winter. So with this one, it's got 2 uses. It can let some light in, but
it can also be open fully so that the light can come in and you can see outside as well. You can very easily, nicely see outside, and the beautiful view of the beautiful tree. And what that also has on these west-facing windows is a low E film to help keep the heat and sunlight out. Something in our house that you mostly can't see is how airtight it is. I was talking about that before. So out right here, we've got a kind of one of the main ways that you can tell that it is airtight, because this is part of our heat recovery ventilation system. So this vent takes air in and pushes stale air out. And in doing that, it retains the energy of the air inside and passes that into the air that's coming in. So today it's very hot, and inside it's nice and cool, and that air is cooling down the air that's coming in from outside to try and keep that fresh air. To try and get the house airtight was actually a very difficult thing to do, and we worked very hard with our builder Adelaide Green Homes to try and make that happen. So like I said before, some of the things like double-glazed windows, reducing penetrations in the home. There are no exhaust fans anywhere aside from the HRV taking air out. Building wrap that was done really well, sealing gaps very tightly with things like silicone and things like that. All of those things and lots of effort and time were put in to try and make sure that that air that's coming in is really only coming in through the heat recovery ventilation system and not through gaps and holes in the house like a lot of homes do. Yet another important aspect of energy efficient home, of course, is to do with your landscaping. And unfortunately, we're not quite there yet with ours yet, but we do have a lot of good plans for how we can externally shade the house. So having some external shading over here and over in that space over there of large trees, and one of them over that way being deciduous. We're hoping that the shading of the home can really make summers a lot more cooler, but also allow for that winter light coming in on this north-facing set of windows in winter.